Hey, this is Carl with electricbikeblog.com, and I'm here to talk about why you shouldn't install a EV charger in your garage when you get an electric vehicle, and instead you should just buy a charging cable. So basically, what they call EV chargers are not really the charger. The charger is actually inside the car, and when you buy the $600 to $2,000 box and pay somebody thousands of dollars to install it in your garage, really all you're installing is a cable with a couple of fancy lights. You really don't need it. So when I got my Bolt about 18 months ago, instead of installing a charger, I just installed a 30 amp plug and I bought a 30 amp charging cable. And I managed to use that to get about 50% of the electricity for my car for the last 8,000 miles from sources other than my solar panels. So I've been able to, at the place where I go kiteboarding, there's a 50 amp plug, and I ask permission. I pay an annual fee there of $40 for a permit, and they really didn't have a problem. I told them how much the electricity would cost, and they just didn't have an issue with it. And you'll find a lot of campgrounds and marinas have 30 or 50 amp plugs, and if you patronize them in some way or offer to pay for the electricity, a lot of times they just won't charge you for it. So for me, it works out well. I haven't really been able to charge electric cars at my wife's house, although I will soon. And I've been able to, when I go out kiteboarding, usually for 5 or 6 hours at a time, I can charge my car pretty much up to 100%. So all the things in my life are about an hour apart, and I do spend a lot of time driving, but I'm able to basically not have to pay for gas or transportation because of the electric car. This is the charging cable I have. It's called a Must Start. It charges at 24 amps on a 30 amp plug, which is pretty typical. You really can't charge over 24 amps on a 30 amp plug. And this is the plug that I have, the NEMA plug, the 30 amp plug. Looks like that. So that's the plug that I have installed both at my parents' house and at my house. And I pretty much use this cable to charge the car in almost everywhere I go. So I get about 25 miles of range per hour that I charge. It's a little bit inconvenient pulling the cable out of the car and having to plug it into the wall, but it really doesn't take that much time. I mean, I spend less time plugging my car in and unplugging it than I spend pumping gas on a gas car. So here you'll see my 50 amp adapter plug. So this adapts from the plug for the charger to a 50 amp cable, and then I'm able to plug into any 50 amp plug, and that cost me about $12. This is a Tesla tap. So I bought this, I've never actually used it. It costs about $160, and this allows you to access the Tesla destination chargers, of which there's about 4,500 in the United States. So what you do is you plug this end into the Tesla charger, you wait 30 seconds, you plug this end into your car. It's pretty much that simple. So there's a bunch of clones out there that are about the same price, but on the message boards, it's pretty clear that the Tesla tap is the way to go. So it's the same price, and it'll work at a lot more destination chargers than the clones will. So I think it's really dumb to install a charger when you can just buy a cable, which is all that the car chargers for your garage really are anyway, is a cable. I do have a Cybertruck on order, but I think I'm just going to get a 50 amp charging cable and not ever install a charger, and that will allow me to charge the truck at different places. You can actually get a 50 amp to 30 amp plug adapter, which is a little bit awkward because you really shouldn't do that, but you can set your charger to 24 amps on a 50 amp charger, and you can still safely plug into a 30 amp plug. What you really can't do is set a 50 amp charger to 30 amps and plug it into a 30 amp plug, because what'll end up happening is it won't be enough power to trip the breaker, but it will melt the wires and could potentially cause a fire. So thanks so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys soon.